Hello, kindred spirits, and welcome. I'm Chrissy Chicory, author of Cozy Mysteries, Romantasy, and Gentle Magic Realism, and hostess of the Velvet Teacup Society, where stories and friendships gather around the same table. In this series, I share little conversations with wonderful authors about their books, their creative journey, and the magic behind their stories that they bring into this world. A small preview before our full live gathering inside the Velvet Teacup Society. I'm delighted to be joined by Fyre Hart, the author of Mythical Midlife series. Today we're going to enjoy a few lovely questions together, so settle in, grab a warm cup of tea, and let's begin. Fyre,
Awesome.
thank you so much for being here.
I am happy. I have got my cup of tea.
I love it. Yes, I am in Blue Willow mode today.
I love it.
Mm, okay, so Midlife Myth and Memory. It introduces readers to a magical journey that begins in a very human place. What inspired the seed of this story?
This was a series that was not supposed to be written, apparently, but it needed to be, wanted to be. And so my husband and I went to Scotland in March of last year. And I had a 7 book series all outlined for my other pen name. Sweet Romance. I had family with 7 siblings. They live in a castle in the Scottish Highlands and they produce whiskey. So it seemed like a trip to Scotland was, needed. And
Absolutely.
so we go to Scotland, and I've got my checklist of everything I need to do. And we did a day tour around southern part of the Highlands. And the first stop was these statues that are called the Kelpies, 100-foot high horse heads.
Oh, wow.
And so our lovely Scottish tour guide is telling us the story of the Kelpies and their water horses. They live in the lochs, and the stories came about because parents were trying to keep their kids away from going in the lochs without them.
Mm.
And because these water horses eat them. And so, yeah, I mean, they're pretty gruesome. But I could just see these, incredibly gorgeous black horses
Mm,
made of water, galloping across a loch. Our
mm,
next stop was Loch Lomond, and we're standing up on this rise, looking out over the loch, and there's an island right out there. And it's covered with, mist around it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the perfect place for like dragons and kelpies and all these ideas. And I'm like, nope, I don't write fantasy. And
Right.
so I put it aside and it would not leave me alone. So I wrote it all down, all the thoughts that kept coming, wrote it all down. And when I got home, I'm working hard to try and write this other series, and this one would not leave me alone.
Sure,
And so
sure.
I had to write it. And yeah, so that is how it came about.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So, how has your own life experience shaped the themes of reinvention and newly awakened magic in your books?
When the story came to me, it was a woman who was the main character.
Mhm.
And because I am not 20 anymore, and it's been a
Mhm.
while since I've been 20,
Sure.
I have a hard time relating to characters that are young.
Mhm.
And so I knew I wanted a character who was older.
Mhm.
And one of the women in our writers group writes paranormal women's fantasy. I talked to another author, and she was telling me about paranormal women's fantasy. And it's women who discover magic in midlife.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's perfect. That's kind of what's happening to me,
Yeah.
discovering magic in midlife and my character. And so, yeah, so that's kind of how all that came about. And I, the midlife, I didn't write my first book until I was 58. And so I feel like we get a second chance, we get
Absolutely.
multiple second chances, I think.
Yeah.
and to highlight women who are heroes in their own life
Hmm.
later in life,
Yeah.
I think is awesome. And I think it's important.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get our second hurrah.
Yeah.
If you could invite readers into one scene from your books to experience in person, which would it be and why?
I was looking at this question and I have two scenes
Okay.
that I think are two of my favorites. So these are from my first book,
Love it.
Midlife Myths and Memory. This is the first book in the series. And the heroine, Neris, is pulled onto into this world that she has no foundation for particularly.
Mhm.
She is an archivist in Edinburgh and she works at a university and she knows about all the Scottish myths. She studies them, but they're stories.
Mhm.
And so she goes to spread her ashes on an island where her mother was born. And she gets to the island at night. They put her in a what she thinks is a hotel. And the next morning when she wakes up, she walks out of her room and walks straight into a unicorn.
As one does, right?
As one does. And so I that was one of my favorite scenes to write because her whole world just shifted
So fun.
in one blink of an eye,
Mhm.
a unicorn. And so and then he shifts into a man and that also blows her mind.
Sure.
So that scene is one of my favorites. And another scene because kind of women recapturing their power and standing up for themselves is a big theme in the whole series.
Mhm.
And so she has an opportunity to to go to her ex and
Mhm.
say all the things that she didn't get to say when they were breaking up. And
Mhm.
this is only a few months later, but so much in her life has changed.
Mhm.
And so that one was also fun to write because
Who
she
doesn't
has,
want to do that, right?
yeah, and you can see like how much she's grown since the beginning scene where where she and her ex
Mhm.
first, when you first meet him to this one, she's a completely different woman, and I love that for her. So,
That's awesome. I,
yeah,
I can't wait for everyone to dive into your books and enjoy it.
thank you. It is on Kindle Unlimited. So
Yeah,
if you happen to be part of that subscription, go binge it.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, before we finish, I want to thank you, Friar Hart, so much for sharing your time with us today. You can find, as she said, you can find her books on Kindle Unlimited. I'll put the links below in the video description. And if you'd like to join us for the full cozy conversation, we gather live inside the Velvet Teacup Society on the third Wednesdays of the month. We'd love to have you at our table.
We would come join us. Thank you, Chrissy.
Thank you.